So today we're gonna first of all read an article about should you or shouldn't you break up with your partner, and then we're probably gonna go through some Reddit things or something rather random. But yeah, let's actually see how long the article is because I don't know. And yeah, more after the intro. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. But before we actually can do anything, I'm gonna have to show you the article. So here it is. Here is the article. And yeah, should you break up with your partner or shouldn't you? Should you break up with your partner? Well, I can't read today. By Gary W. Lewandowski, Jr. PhD. Pretty interesting. Do you know the soccer player Lewandowski? Pretty good, actually. You know, had a pretty amazing season. But anyway, that's not the topic of the video. So, deciding your relationship's fate may be as simple as flipping a coin. Determining whether it's best to stick with your relationship or end things is a tough decision. Knowing what's right is hard. Figuring out what's best seems impossible. As difficult as it may be, the solution might just be deceptively simple. Flip a coin. I know, it seems too easy. First, a little background. In the book Think Like a Freak, economist Stephen Levitt and his Freakonomics friend and co-author Stephen Dubner urge readers to think about the world differently. One way to do that is by training readers' brains to approach complex problems in unique ways. Whereas many would suggest thinking big picture, quote unquote, they advocate for focusing on the smaller, more manageable, and more changeable elements of a problem. In the final chapter, The Upside of Quitting, Levitt and Dubner suggest that contrary to what many people have told you in life, you should quit. When things get tough, you shouldn't always tough them out and stick with it. Instead, it's often better to quit and do so sooner rather than later. Because many of us believe adages like winners never quit and quitters never win, we're hesitant to give up. But that reluctance may hold us back. Not wanting to quit lies at the heart of many tough decisions. To address this, Levitt and Dubner describe a Freakonomics experiment where readers submitted a tough decision they wanted help with. You can see it in action here. Is there a link? No, there is no link. Why? Anyway, you might assume that science economists were behind this experiment. They would implement a fancy algorithm or formula to help readers make the most data-based decision. No. They thought differently and used a simple computerized coin flip. Despite the overly simplistic mechanism for making decisions, i.e. clicking a button that says flip a coin, readers submitted all types of questions. Some were about major life decisions, for example, should I ask for a raise? Should I quit my job? Whereas others were more mundane, for example, should I grow a beard? Of the question readers asked, the most interesting to me was, should I break up with my boyfriend/girlfriend? According to Think Like a Freak, over 200 people posted this question, which means that the Freakonomics experiment was potentially responsible for about 100 breakups, i.e. 50% of 200, since the, it's not called possibility, isn't it? There is another word for it. Something with P as well. But, it is either yes or no, so it is a 50-50 chance. So, basically, in theory, it must have been like 100 breakups. But yeah. Of course, this assumes that the users adhered to the coin's decision. According to the book, the majority reported that they went through with it. Which I think is very interesting, though. I don't know, it's fucking flipping a fucking coin, so... yeah. Anyway, not only that, but those who made breakup decisions based on the coin flip reported that they were happy with the outcome. Think about how bizarre that is. Roughly 100 people in a relationship broke up based on a random decision made by a computer and were generally happy about it. Of course, some were happy with the decision to break up and some were happy with the decision to stay together. I'm intentionally glossing over that second possibility because I find the happy breakups fascinating and potentially counterintuitive or freaky. The fact that users were happy is notable because the ultimate decision on the relationship's fate wasn't made by the user. Clearly, the user could have been unhappy with the outcome. For example, they broke up with their partner and weren't totally convinced they should. Kind of makes you wonder if there is any research linking breakups and happiness. Good, now you're thinking like a freaky relationship scientist. The coin flip results suggest that people can break up and be happy about it, which is consistent with reaching findings. First, we know that people in relationships predict that they will be sadder about the breakup of the relationship than they are when it does actually break up. Will be sadder about the breakup of their relationship than they are when it does actually break up. I also know from some of my own research that many people, about 2 out of 5, report that their breakup was positive. Maybe post-breakup happiness isn't a completely freak occurrence. I don't totally believe that there is something like that, because if you're thinking about a breakup, if you're thinking about breaking up with your partner, then there must be a reason for that, And after you've made the decision, after you went through the whole process of doing so, you're probably gonna be kind of relieved of all the pressure that you felt, the pressure that led you to thinking about breaking up, But yeah, there is something else going on here as well. Who is willing to submit their relationship's future to a coin flip in the first place? Probably not people in fulfilling, healthy relationships, as I said, and thought of, and hopefully communicated. But yeah, rather putting your relationship's fate in the hands of a coin flip probably says that you are already having a significant doubt. For example, if you're willing to take a 50% chance of your relationship ending, it is quite likely that your relationship already has less commitment. Those with more commitment wouldn't take the chance. We also know that relationships with less commitment are more likely to break up, which may also explain why users were happy when the coin suggested ending the relationship. They knew a breakup was imminent and conveniently had a coin flipped to blame. It's not me, baby, it's the coin. Which is a fucking ass thing to say, isn't it? Like, going to the loved one or one's loved one and being like, well, it's been a coin, man. Or it's been a coin, baby. I can't do anything for that. I just flipped it, but it's the coin, the coin made the fucking decision. Fucking think about that. It's strange. Of course, that coin may be doing both partners a favor, since having doubts about your relationship prior to marriage, i.e. cold feet, relates to less marriage satisfaction and a higher likelihood for divorce, especially for women. Ultimately, as far as your relationship is concerned, whether a virtual or real-life analog coin flip is the most effective way to make relationship decisions isn't what's most important. Rather, what may be most revealing is whether you would be willing to allow a coin flip to determine the fate of your relationship, which is freaky, as he says. For more relationship insights, see my book, Stronger Than You Think, 10 blind spots that undermine our or your relationship, and how to see past them, or find me on Twitter at Lewandowski PhD. And there's also some references, but I'm anyway going to link down this amazing and amazingly interesting post in the description. So if you want to check it out, please check it out. My thoughts are that, as I said before, like if you're really considering just letting a coin flip, well, and actually, as I've also been reading, if you really consider a coin flip to make a decision, then you probably are in a very interesting place, If it is about your relationship, then you're probably and seemingly very happy with both outcomes, because if you really consider it, then you're actually just not caring about being with your partner or not being with your partner anymore, apparently, or seemingly. And so, I don't know, I think the thought per se, as he also pointed out, just really does say a lot about you and your partner and the relationship and whatnot. But, when you apply this quote-unquote strategy to something else, like, I don't know, should you eat this or should you eat that, then you probably really don't care if you eat it or not, because you're letting a coin decide whether you should eat it or not. So it's really revealing things, which I think is amazing. I'm not going to read the references since I don't necessarily believe that it makes sense, but you can find them in the article that I've linked down in the description or in the show notes if you're on the podcast. But yeah, something that I want to give you and say is, we shouldn't make decisions when we are in a bad mood, and we shouldn't make decisions when we are in a too good mood, because we're probably gonna, tend towards like either the positive side or the negative side too much, which I have also seen in myself and in my life, and I've also read about it and whatnot. And I think it makes sense, but it's not necessarily something that we often think about. Like, okay, should I really make this decision now based on my emotional state? Whether you're happy, angry, sad, or whatever it might be, should you really make it? Should you really make this decision, or should you really take this decision right now? But also, especially when it is about being happy, like not a lot of people think about, well, I shouldn't make this decision just because I'm way too happy right now, or I am happy right now, which is, of course, also going to influence your decision. You're probably going to be more positive about the future, about whatever it might be. I don't know. And something else is, wait a bit longer, and at least in my point of view, like waiting a bit longer and then trying to figure things out makes more sense than rushing it and then regretting things. And as I'm thinking about it, like there's not too many ways in which you are going to regret taking your time, I guess, unless it is about something you need to be fast about or fast in, like a business decision, something like that. But then you also have to think about, which is something that Jeff Bezos actually really, really emphasizes with Amazon, is that if you can make a decision that is not really impacting the whole thing too much, and you can reverse it, and the reversing part is not that much work, then you should just be fast. If it is something that's irreversible, that's really going to fuck with your business, that's really going to fuck with a lot of things, then you should really take your time and think about that. Maybe I can actually find it to give you the real wording that he was using. Jeff Bezos decision making, and I'm writing it so awfully wrong. This is how Jeff Bezos makes decisions, and I probably have read something about that like a billion times, I think, at least. Let's see. I believe in the power of wondering, he said. All of my best decisions in business and in life have been made with heart, intuition, guts, not analysis. Jeff Bezos remembers like yesterday what it was like to hope to afford a forklift. Bezos spoke more specifically to Amazon's success, citing customer care as its keystone. The secret sauce of Amazon, the number one thing that has made it successful by far, is obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer as opposed to obsession over the competitor, which is something that I have heard so often, and I have seen so often, and I've read so often that I don't know, like it truly makes sense. It really truly does. But I'm searching for something else. If you can make a decision with analysis, you should do so. But it turns out in life that that your most important decisions are always made with instinct and intuition, taste and heart. But this is not what I'm searching for, actually. Searching for something else. The two types: high quality decision making. One common pitfall for large organizations, one that hurts speed and inventiveness, is one size fits all decision making. There it is. So a decision can be irreversibly, or well, it is quite of a graph with 4 quadrants. The horizontal thing is irreversibility, and the vertical axis is consequentially, whatever, you know what I mean. If it is high in irreversibility and consequentially, then make decisions slowly, carefully, and methodically. If irreversibility is low and the consequence is still high, then decide fast and get evidence about the outcome. If the consequences are really low and the irreversibility is really high, then decide fast. And if irreversibility is low and the consequences are pretty low, then decide fast as well. Which I think really makes sense. If you can't reverse something, if you can't change something in the end, and it's really, really a high impact thing, then yeah, you should really be slow about that. But if you can change it, if you can reverse it, and it is still just a pretty big deal, then you can make it fast because you can still reverse it in the end. So it really truly makes sense, the whole graph. I think it is cool. I think it is amazing. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode there. And I truly want to say that I like these episodes where I think that I, just put out something that's more sensical and that of which you can learn more from. But anyway, yeah. I wish you the best health of happiness and also success, and also hope that you're gonna write yourself and you're gonna be remembered. Especially means your legacy means just being a nice person and being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. And yeah, 3 other things that I want to give you are why are you here, what are trying to change, and what is bothering you the most. These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty fucking cool thing as well. One last thing that I want to give you is, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed going to change their life? Because I totally believe that we all can say something and we all can communicate something that's indeed going to change somebody's life. And yeah, with that being said, please take care of yourself, your family members, and all of your loved ones. And I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. So bye-bye.